welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Look Away. This movie tells the story of Maria, an alienated high school student whose life is turned upside down when she switches places with her sinister mirror image. What happens when her twin sister begins to take her life? Let's find out in Look Away. Look Away tells the story of a shy girl named Maria Brennan who is often ostracized by her friends and becomes the target of bullying by her classmates. Maria is the only child of a rich family. However, Maria does not look happy because she always feels isolated, even when she is with her parents. While at school, Maria's life was not much different, and it was even worse because she was often the victim of bullying by a classmate named Mark. One day, while having dinner, Maria's mother, Amy, suggested her only daughter attend the school prom to open up more and hang out with her friends. However, Maria, who never intended to attend the prom because she would definitely be ostracized by her friends, then refused her mother's request in an annoyed tone, then just left. While in the bathroom, she accidentally found an old sonogram showing a pair of twins. She immediately assumed that she had a twin whose whereabouts were unknown. Not only that, when Maria was masturbating in the bathroom while looking at the mirror, suddenly her reflection in the mirror didn't move like her movement. Suddenly, this made her very shocked and fell on the bathroom floor. She then got up the courage to stand in front of the mirror to make sure that what she saw just now was just a hallucination. But in reality, her reflection in the mirror was not in sync with her body movements in the real world. The frightened Maria rushed out of the bathroom. The next day, Maria tried to tell her father about the strange incident. But her father even took issue with her face, which looked very pale from lack of sleep. Her father then told Maria to wear makeup so that her face looked more cheerful and radiant. As an obedient child, Maria did what her father asked her to do. When she was doing her makeup in front of the same mirror, the same thing happened again, unnoticed by her. At school, the only person who is seen hanging out with Maria is Lily, a pretty girl who is quite popular and has a very handsome boyfriend named Sean. Maria and Lily have been friends since childhood. Unbeknownst to Lily and Sean, Maria secretly harbored feelings for Sean, who was always kind to her. While walking down the school corridor, Maria was suddenly blocked by Mark and fell and was laughed at by her friends. Seeing this, Sean tried to defend Maria until he almost got into a fight with Mark. Arriving at the house, Maria felt someone calling her from the bathroom. When she entered there, she was again surprised by her reflection in the mirror moving by itself. Although physically identical, her reflection in the mirror looks more charismatic, tough and much more confident than her. Long story short, Maria began to often communicate with Aram, her reflection in the mirror, until she ventured to attend the school prom. Hearing this, her parents were very happy, even though Maria said that she would go to the prom alone without a partner. A few days later, Maria's father, Dan, offered to give her an early birthday present and had Maria come to his office. Dan is a plastic surgeon who is quite reputable and has many loyal customers who are mainly women. He often cheated on Amy behind her back, but Amy knew about it and pretended that all was well to maintain a happy family's image. Indirectly, Dan has also made Maria suffer because he demands her to always look perfect. After doing minor plastic surgery to fix the flaws on Maria's body, Dan then took his daughter to watch a movie at the cinema. While at the cinema, Maria sees Mark watching a movie with his girlfriend. Maria then asked her father to hurry to leave the cinema after the film was over so that she wouldn't run into Mark. However, her efforts to avoid Mark seem to be fruitless because they still meet and Mark also continues to intimidate her even though she is with her father. Mark didn't seem to care about Dan's presence because he was silent when his daughter was bullied by Mark and his friends right in front of his eyes. Arriving at home, Maria then told Aram the bad treatment she experienced at the cinema. Day by day, as the bullying experienced and the feeling of being isolated from her family increased significantly, Maria began to find comfort in Aram's presence and support, which made her able to deal with her subconscious thoughts and the turmoil in her inner turmoil. Maria became more frequent confide in Aram until her mother caught her monologue in front of the mirror. Amy sensed something was wrong with her daughter recently and raised her concerns with her husband. But Dan assumes that Maria is just transitioning into adulthood and tries to relieve her excessive anxiety by giving her a sedative. Not long after, Lily then invites Maria to practice ice skating for the upcoming winter school prom on ice. Since Maria couldn't ice skating at all, she slipped and couldn't get back up in an instant. Maria then asked Lily for help, but Lily instead mocked her and abandoned her on the ice, then just walked away. Maria, who was very sad because Lily started treating herself the same as her friends did, then poured out her frustration on Aram. Hearing this suddenly made Aram angry and reminded Maria that Lily had often ignored her and never really wanted to be friends with Maria from the past. Aram then suggested the idea that they should swap positions and promised to fix things for Maria. Aram then asked Maria to put her hands and lips on the mirror so they could switch places. However, when Maria was about to do what Aram asked her, her mother called outside the bathroom telling her to get out of there immediately. Arriving at the prom, Maria tried to walk on the ice with wobbly steps for fear of falling again. Seeing Maria struggling, Sean offered to help to teach her to walk freely on the ice. Maria felt so comfortable in Sean's arms as they danced so romantically on the ice that she finally noticed that Lily was looking at them with jealous eyes. Maria became embarrassed and slipped and fell. Sean tried to help her, but Lily was annoyed that Maria tried to snatch Sean from her. Mark then came over and held out his hand to Maria. Innocently, Maria thought Mark would help her, even though Mark wanted to bully and humiliate Maria completely in front of everyone. Feeling devastated after Mark intimidated her physically and mentally, Maria immediately complained about it to Aram and agreed to switch positions right away. Their palms and lips touched each other in the mirror, allowing the two of them to move from place to place. Sure enough, Maria is now trapped in the mirror and Aram takes her place in the real world. Their behavior is also very different. The next day, Aram, who has now taken Maria's place, meets Amy, who asks about the prom party last night. Aram only replied that everything was fine. At school, Aram looks much more confident than Maria. Even the look in her eyes and facial expression looks tough. As usual, Mark always tried to bully Maria. However, the current Maria is Aram, who is not afraid of anyone, including Mark. The intimidation that Mark did to her was only taken as a trivial matter. Aram managed to resist Mark's bullying and humiliated him in front of his friends. Aram then runs into Sean, who asks how he is and returns Maria's crown. Not only that, Aram also met Lily, who apologized for what happened to Maria at the prom. Casually, Aram forgave Lily and asked Lily to teach her ice skating again. After school, Aram visited Dan at the clinic and looked at her father with a meaningful look. After that, she gently kissed her father's cheek and said that she really missed her father all this time. Dan then became very surprised to see Maria's very drastic attitude change. Aram met Mark while he was practicing figure skating. Mark, who still holds a grudge for being humiliated by Aram, whom he considers Maria, then intends to avenge her. Mark then followed Aram, who walked alone to the bathroom. However, he couldn't find anyone there. Not long after, Aram appeared behind Mark and beat his knee with a hockey stick until she broke his leg. After secretly practicing figure skating alone and getting better at it, Aram intends to show her ability to intimidate Lily. The two of them went to an ice skating rink where Lily used to take Maria to practice. Upon arrival, Lily was taken aback by Aram's skill in figure skating like a professional athlete. Lily didn't want to lose. She then showed off all the difficult figure skating techniques she mastered. Unexpectedly, Aram can also do it just as well. Aram then looked at Lily with icy eyes. Lily, who was horrified, then slid quickly away from Aram. Aram chases her across the ice. Lily suddenly slipped down. Her head hit the pavement hard and she died instantly. Aram calls her mother while pretending to cry, telling her about the tragic accident that killed Lily. In the bathroom that night, Maria, who was panicked and devastated by Lily's death, begged Aram to switch places back. However, Aram refused and confirmed to Maria that Lily's death was an accident. Aram also tried to calm Maria to no longer feel sad and lost because of Lily's death. She then seduces Sean, who is still grieving over the death of his girlfriend. Although he refused and felt uncomfortable at first, Sean, who was unable to contain his desire, finally chose to vent his sexual desire on Aram. Aram and Sean begin an intense love affair. The two of them even skipped school and went to Aram's house just to have some fun time. One day, Aram saw the police coming to her school, then asked Sean to skip school again and they went to the motel. While at the motel, Sean gets a call telling him the police want to talk to him and Maria. Sean then told Aram, who he thought was Maria, that the two of them should end all this and go to the police. But Aram refuses to go and instead fondles Sean. He then became suspicious of Aram, who seemed to be hiding something from him. Sean then pushed Aram and grabbed his jacket, intending to leave. Because she was so afraid that her actions would be found out if Sean reported it to the police, without thinking, Aram then hit Sean's head with the bottle of vodka she was carrying and killed him. Maria was devastated by what Aram did to Sean. Likewise with Aram, who seemed to regret her actions. In front of the bathroom mirror, Maria and Aram wept together, mourning the death of their loved ones. Meanwhile elsewhere, Amy dreams about her past when she had just given birth to a pair of twins. However, one of the twins is physically disabled. Dan, who is so obsessed with everything to be perfect, decides to inject her disabled child into death, even though it is against Amy's wishes, who still want to take care of her two children with love, even though their circumstances are not perfect. After killing Sean, Aram leaves the motel and visits her father at the clinic after work, pretending to be very drunk. Aram then took off all her clothes and demanded to know if her father would still love her if she was disabled. Obviously annoyed by the question, Dan tried to dodge. But Aram insisted that her father answer her question while looking at her father sharply. Her father then answered yes, and immediately Aram slit her father's throat with a scalpel. When her father lay dying and began to bleed, Aram cried hysterically and asked her father why can't he loves her. Aram now no longer saw Maria when she looked in the mirror. Annoyed, she broke the mirror. Feeling scared and lonely, Aram then returned home and crawled into bed in her mother's warm embrace. The film ends by showing a series of burst photos which are mirrored depicting Maria and Aram in bed with their mother on Amy's right and left sides. This implies that Maria and Aram have merged into one.